G'day folks, it's Cortezerino and welcome to my fairy village. Today we are going to do a little bit of a tour around all the buildings and gardens and also check out the base underneath. So this base is a lot smaller than some of the others I've put together in recent time lapses, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means it's quite easy to build. And I would really like to live in this thing. It is super decorative and very, very functional with the huge storage room underneath. And you could completely spawn-proof this area if you wanted to. So we've got a great big circle around this thing, and the beasties cannot get over the fence, and you can shut the fence gates at the front there. Put down enough light that nothing's going to spawn, and then you just have to worry about spawn-proofing the roofs, and you will be completely safe in here. So one thing to notice is all the land inside the circle is raised up one block from the outside, and I just thought this helped to make the whole thing stand out a little bit better. So that's the outside circle. Let's check out the inside circle, which is this pond. And you can see down below is the big storage room and base area. And even if you're not going to build something like a fairy village, this idea for a base and storage room I think is super awesome. I'm going to do this one day. So if you make your little starter house, you just have a ladder going down. And yeah, you can put a big room like this underneath with a pond above. Super easy to build, and it does look awesome. So we'll make our way down there, but first we'll check out the interior of this little house. And if you're wondering what this is supposed to be, I'm not sure. I based it on a picture of a real-life little sort of sculpture that you can put in your garden to look like a fairy house. I think they were supposed to be acorns, but it could be any sort of little berry or something like that. I think it looks awesome though. And yeah, we've got a second one over there. So this one, a lot of people will have seen this already. I built this on the Evermore server, and the interior is exactly the same as the one I did there. You can see we've got a little parrot in a cage, and it's just set up to be like a little fairy's house. We've got a tree stump table, nice little furniture in here. Nothing too awesome in that one, but this house over here, I absolutely love the interior. And I think I like it the best because we're trying to make it look like fairies live here. So I've gone for the little azalea bush tables here, and it looks awesome, especially this one with the flowers on it because it looks like a little tablecloth hanging down. And to plant the trees in there, I've planted them on moss blocks and then also used some of the moss carpets around here so I could hide some light under them to light this place up nicely. But it also looks like, you know, we've got the greenery from outside coming into the house, which you would find in a fairy's house, and ferns and grass growing in here. I think it looks lovely. The jack-o'-lantern lights also are a nice little touch, and we've got lots of beehives in here just hanging around. A lovely great big bed. I would really like to live in this house, but let's continue downstairs, and here's the access to our pond out there. And continuing on with the theme of having the grass and ferns inside, we've got a grass floor in here, and I think it looks good, so we can just plant any flowers or bushes that we want along here, and once again hidden light under the moss. And I've set this up to be like a hobbit hole, so we've got lights hidden behind the trapdoors and in the ceilings above those leaves. And this place is super cool. I really like the look of this tunnel. And then we open up into the big storage room, and I haven't got a lot in here, so it's just the chests at the moment. But this would make a really nice storage room. You can always see if it's night or day, what's going on around you. And what I've done for the ceiling here is we've got 3 layers, so it's water up the top, but then 2 layers of glass. And you need 2 layers or you get the drippy drips coming down. So this, they're different kinds of glass as well. So I've got a light blue glass on this bottom layer, and just above that I've got the dark blue glass. And that just means when you're looking from above, especially with the shaders, you can just see the storage room, but Yeah, but not really. It's kind of hidden. It just sort of hints that it's there. And I've got lichen on the pillars here, but really, if you were setting this up as a storage room, you wouldn't have that there. You'd have item frames down each side of your chest so you can see what's in the chests, and you're able to do that with every single little bit of storage here. So no need to put the item frame on the chest itself. And yeah, once again, we're just hiding our hidden lighting underneath all the moss going all the way around the buildings, completely spawn-proof. And we've got an enchanting table in the middle. And then you'll notice these other archways. So there's 4 of these archways here. That one, of course, leads to the entrance, but this is just like, I didn't do this for the time-lapse because when you're building down here, you can't really see what's happening. Like, you wouldn't have been able to see me building this room in here. But what you could do is just have sort of matching hallways like this, leading off in all directions and just going to other little interesting parts of your base, like to a super smelter or something like that. So there's plenty of room for expansion in here. So for some of my big time-lapse bases, like the castle base, I did a tutorial for the whole thing. For this one, I won't do a tutorial for everything, but I'm definitely going to do tutorials for certain pieces of it, like these 2 houses here. I'll do that in a tutorial. I might do some for my big flowers as well. And and definitely my fairy banquet area. We are definitely going to do that in some sort of build, maybe a chunk build. But yeah, if there's anything in particular you see here, just let me know in the comments, and yeah, I'll gladly provide a tutorial for you. So let's check out these flowers. I don't usually do the organic builds, but once I just figured, I can't do that sort of stuff. Meg Ray's the expert at that, I can't do it, but once I started to actually try and do it, I found it pretty easy in the end. So these flowers are basically matching. They're almost block for block. I've just changed a few things here and there, but they look super lovely. But I think I actually like these ones better, so they're just a different variety. I wasn't basing them on real flowers, I was just making it up as I went along, and I think they turned out super nice as well. And while we're looking at these, let's look at some of the gardens. So this is basic, just chucking down some flowers, but I didn't want to do that everywhere. I wanted to come up with something new. So for my melons here, this is a very different design. See, I like putting melons in my crops because you can hide the water source underneath the melon just to hydrate all your earth. And you can also put a light source down there and then a trapdoor on top to sit the melon on. And as soon as you till the earth, the light can escape through that little gap there. So it just helps light the place up a bit. But instead of the Minecraft melon stem, I'm using the drip leaves, and I think they look good. And we've also got little green candles on top of our melons. So I've just run a whole lot of them around, and yeah, it's something different. I think it looks pretty cool. And if we wander over here a bit, this is nothing special. This is just carrots, but I always like to throw in, let's see if we can find one. It's a little bit hard to see in the shaders, yeah. When you do a big crop patch like this, it's always good just to throw in the occasional bit of something different. So you can see we've got potatoes in there as well. Just adds a tiny bit more detail. Over here, I've done this design for a garden before, but I really like it. It's just with jungle leaves and the blue flowers and then scattering some grass around. It's just something different, and yeah, I think it looks nice. Up the front here, another basic one, just a flower garden. But the final one over here, I've gone for something super different. We've gone for a yellow kind of garden here. So I like the idea of throwing the jack-o'-lanterns in. We've got the tall sunflowers. But yeah, we've also got the little coral sitting on some waterlogged copper. So that copper's not completely oxidized. It's sort of halfway in the middle, and that's the closest slab I could find in color to the grass around. So kind of stays hidden. So yeah, that was just something a little bit different. And a few people have said that their favourite feature in this village is my drip leaf streetlights. I really like them too. It's a very different way of using the drip leaf, and I think we're going to continue to come up with super cool ideas. My friend Bobbit Pickle actually gave me the idea for this. He built an archway out of drip leaves, so he had two of these facing each other, and then either slabs or trapdoors on top. And yeah, later on when I was designing the village, I thought, gee, I want to do something like that, and the streetlight idea came to me immediately, so they look super cool, and I've also used drip leaves in a few other ways. So I've got them as seats for my fairy banquet over here, and we've also got a funny use of a drip leaf in this mushroom here. So I've done a little mushroom patch with all different kinds of mushrooms that same colour but different shapes. So if we come into this house, the bottom floor is very, very small. We've got a few chests and things in here. But if we come up the ladder to the top floor, this is where we get a bit more room. So we've just got a little bit of decoration, but here's the other drip leaf. I've got it as a chair, so I've just got, is that moss or carpet? Can't remember, it's probably moss. Just a bit of that on top with a trapdoor, and yeah, makes a nice little office chair. And right next to our mushroom patch, we've got the fairy banquet, and a few people have said it's got Mad Hatter Tea Party vibes, and it certainly does. I really like the idea of doing all of this outside. Why would the fairies be inside? They love nature. So once again, I'm using these little azalea bushes for the table, so they run all the way around. So we've got this lovely tablecloth hanging down. And then right in the middle, I've put some grass blocks. I could have used moss blocks in there as well, but I wanted the slight change of colour just to look like a little mat going down the middle of the table. And that way we can plant all kinds of little things in the middle just to decorate the table. And we've got a little, what would you call this? A little magical lights sort of flying above the table. They look really nice. I love that you can hang the lights from candles. They look super cool. Over here we've got a little drink station for all the fairies, and where I can I've tried to use natural sort of looking furniture, so the drip leaf chairs and a log for the table here. And just behind here we've just got a few rocks scattered around the tree, nothing too special, but this one is really cool. We've got a gazebo. It's a flower gazebo. So that flower is the same as those yellow flowers up there. I've just built them upside down, pretty much block for block that I did above. You see here we've got a little cactus as a stem up the top. I thought that was a cool little touch. And then underneath we've got these drip leaves and a bit of light shining through. Lots of light underneath here because you need lots of light when you're playing in shaders. And once again, azalea bushes all the way around the little circular table. I've waterlogged that slab in the middle so we could have a colourful bowl here with some berries in the middle, and yeah, just cakes. Got some snow there to look like plates stacked up or napkins or something like that. And yeah, I just think this place looks cool. It didn't show up in the time lapse, but you can see from the drip leaves we've got all these lovely particle effects floating down. And at the entrance we've got my fairy gate. A lot of people know about this design. I do have a tutorial for this one. And I built this pretty much block for block, so if you're trying to replicate this village in any way, you can go to the tutorial for this. I'll link it in the description if you want to find it. Now we come along to these little houses, so I don't know what these are really. Once again, just like the yellow ones there, I based these on little garden ornaments, so I guess that's supposed to be a flower roof on top or something like that. And these two buildings are pretty much the exact same design. You can see we've got another one over there. I've just changed up the materials. So that's stripped spruce wood, and this one is acacia. I think this one's got the nicer interior though. Once again, it's very small, but I've gone for the grass floor here. Got a little table with the little table made out of the bush there, and nothing up the top. So that one is very small. And if we go along to this one here, so different coloured roof, gone for green here, and I've mixed in a lot of leaves into that one, but pretty much the exact same design. And this one doesn't have the grass floor. This one has a wooden floor inside. Pretty cool, but not not especially functional. You couldn't live in, well, I suppose you could live in that, but you wouldn't have too much room. And I had to throw one of these in. We've got a little tree here with a nice swing. That, to me, seems like what fairies would be up to, swinging around. And the final building, or buildings, are these tiny little mushroom houses. And I really wanted to finally change the sort of flatness of this base, because you can see it's all one level here. The ground's very flat. And a good general rule when you're building gardens is to try and get a little variation in height. And I've only done it in one spot. I should have done it in a few more places. But yeah, at least we've got a tiny bit of it in this build. It just adds a little bit more to the detail. When everything's flat, can look a little bit boring, so we've just raised the ground up a little bit there, and throwing in some weird materials like the emerald in the deep slate. I think that looks nice. And we are using, what's this block called? The calcite block up there. I think it looks awesome. Can't use it in huge quantities, I think, and you wouldn't want to because it's so hard to get in survival, but yeah, it does look cool. These houses, though, have absolutely nothing on the inside. There is just not enough room. But if you were building this as an actual base, what you could have is just ladders going down from these ones into your main base underneath. So you don't always have to go to that building to enter the base. You could have another ladder over here from this house, and yeah, all kinds of things. Anyway, guys, I think we have pretty much covered the entire thing. It is a very small build, but I do think it's super awesome. So feel free to jump in the comments and request a tutorial for any particular thing you want to see. Maybe you want the gazebo, maybe you want a flower, or the table there. I don't think you need a tutorial for this table. I think you can tell how to build it just by looking at it. Or you might want me to do just a little tutorial for this pond. If you have trouble building ponds yourself and you like the look of this one, maybe you want that. Just drop me a comment and I will build for you whatever you request, maybe. And you know, when I was coming up with the design for this village, I went through so many different ideas. And I put a lot of work into some ideas that I didn't end up using, and they may rear their heads in an upcoming time-lapse, so we may not be done with some fairy-themed builds. So stay tuned if you want to see those in the future. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Cortezerino, and I'll see you later.